Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. The camera. Okay, so today is I'm gonna do something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. I lost my tripod, so like I'm just trying to make it. Okay, wait. Okay. Sorry. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. This video might be a little long, but I don't know if you guys heard of CJades. I think that's how you say it. But she does like scary stories on Reddit. Reddit.com. And so I've been wanting to do this, and so I finally looked it up. But yeah, that's enough of rambling. I'm gonna get into it. I don't know how long this story is gonna be. If it's like not that long, then I'll do another one. But this one's called Almost Kidnapped from My Park while waiting for my school bus. So when I was in high school, like senior year, I was 5'3", about 95 pounds. I was at the park down the street from my house waiting for a school bus. Unusually, my boyfriend. I can't speak. That's the one thing that's gonna be a problem with the series. Usually, my boyfriend, who was already graduated, would drive me to school, but he was busy. I later found out he was cheating. Well, there was usually a few of us girls there waiting, but this day I was the only one. So I sat at the bench, had headphones in and out. Had one headphone in and one out, so I can listen to my surroundings. I've always been curious of what's going on around me. As I waited a back Honda. I'm so dumb. Okay. Okay, so as I waited, a black Honda pulled up, and I immediately noticed it. I kept my eye on it because I had a bad feeling about it. It wasn't making it obvious that I was watching it because I didn't want to look crazy. But after a few minutes, two big men got out. I immediately texted my boyfriend that I was at the park and these guys were creeping me out. Of course, he didn't text back, so I copied and pasted the same text to my cousin who was home. I lived with my aunt and two guy cousins. Unwinding down from the night shift, I wanted someone to know the car. I wanted someone to know the car. The car make a color. Plus, it was two men. Didn't get any responses. I really can't speak. I'm so sorry. As I stood by the street, these men walked up to me, and I could feel that bad energy. One guy said hello as the other stood there staring at me. I just did a small smile and nod, then looked away. Then the same guy, I'll call him one, asked how old I was. I didn't respond. I could tell the other guy too was getting mad that I wasn't feeding into it. Then one kept asking me yes or no questions like, do you have a boyfriend? Do you live close? Do you know? Do you do? I don't want to say that on my channel, but like, I'll just and have you? We have some to do. We want to do. What? I'm bad at reading. Okay. We have some. Do you want some? And then two asked me if I knew what the black market was. I felt a cold rush go over my body as I got chills. Two, who was quiet the whole time, started to tell me they just got back from Russia, but the way he said it was so scary, almost intimidating. I knew they were from somewhere else because they had strong accents, but I could not pinpoint the place. They were from somewhere else because they had. I just read over the same thing again. They kept telling me to go to their car because they have. Yeah. I said no, thank you. Trust me, I wasn't a straight edge in high school. I was not stupid either. I would never get into somebody's car that I didn't know. Then one asked me if I have her car. I said no, that my bus is almost here. Sorry, I have to go. And by some sort of miracle, the bus rounded the corner and the guys backed off. They had been inching closer and closer as they asked me questions, but before the bus got to me, one handed me a card and said he has a car shop and to call him if I need anything. He even started to give me he even stated that he'd give me a free car. The car looks and I didn't want to grab it, but I knew I needed the number on it to report it. So I took it and walked off super fast. Finally, the bus stopped and picked me up. As soon as I got on, I started to cry. I had a complete meltdown. It was like all of the adrenaline, I think that's how you say it, was keeping my mind and body aware and focused while the men were there, but as soon as I was safe, my body and mind gave out. Thankfully, there were many people on the bus. Driver calmed me down before we took off, and I explained what happened. When she looked around for the car, they were gone. She said she saw them around me, but I knew them because they were so close to my person. I think that was supposed to be personal space. The driver called into her dispatch saying that there was an incident so they could notify the school. She continued to pick all of a student up, but when we got to school, she walked me in the office. I was absolutely terrified to be alone. The principal came out, so did the campus security. They were so sweet and gentle with me as they brought me back to the principal's office. Both men and they proceeded to ask me questions about the men, the car, and the questions the creeps had asked me. I cried the whole time. Then I pulled out the card the guy gave me and handed it to the principal. He looked at the security and said he was going to call it and act like my dad, so he did. It was on speaker and one answered. I knew his voice as if it was burned into my brain. It took everything in me not to have a panic attack. The principal asked the guy if he could get him a car at a good price. The guy played dumb. The principal said his daughter, me, gave the car to him. As soon as he said the guy hung up. They tried calling again and the phone was shut off, eventually disconnected. I could see a shift in the principal and security as soon as the phone clicked. The security got on his phone and called the police and had them come to the school. It was as if they finally knew it was real, like my crazy story wasn't made up. The principal excused himself and the security guard, and they talked for a minute, and in the hall I could hear everything they were saying. She's lucky to be alive. This is serious. We need to call her parents and get her. And they need to come get her. When the police got there, they came into the office that I was sitting in and asked me for a story again. And in front of the principal and security guard, I feel like they wanted to see if I was being 100% honest, so I obligated. The officers were straight up with me and told me if it sounded like they were watching us girls at the park because they chose one day that they were all alone. So he also said that the card was being used as a bait to get me to go where they wanted. I felt sick. I couldn't breathe. The school called my aunt, but she didn't pick up. The only person that picked up first was my boyfriend. One of the officers talked to him as they finally got a hold of my aunt. My boyfriend ended up picking me up and talking me home, and I cried the whole time. When I got there, my grandma, uncle, aunt, mom, and cousins were all out front. The women were all in tears, and the men were livid, but worried for me. A week later, some girl at another local high school not far from the park was saved by another group by other students. She was being dragged into a black Honda by two guys. The other kids stood up and grabbed her and pulled her out of the car. The principal called me into his office, and that's how I found out. They also had same officers there and hid me close to the guys out in the picture lineup. I pointed them out fast. They were caught. It was in fact those two guys that tried grabbing the girl, a freshman girl. I felt worried for her and sad. She went through worse than I did, and I felt almost free again, still scared but not looking over my shoulder as often. I couldn't believe they were caught. After my family teamed up to drive me to the school for the rest of the year, my boyfriend, now ex, also took me some days. I'm thankful to be alive and well, and I am even more thankful that the girl was also saved by courageous kids at her high school. I did not read that, but that's crazy. I'm always scared about that stuff. Like, yeah, okay. It's already 11 minutes. I'll read one more. Tell me if you guys want this to be like a series, because I would definitely do this. Okay, here we go. Creepy guy who chased me around Walmart. This is a medium story, so this will be my last story. Hi, this is a story of dumb decisions I made in February 2019 while at Tennessee Walmart. At the time, I was 12 years old and had been visiting Tennessee for my first time for a dance competition I was competing in. On this night, I was around 11, and it was around 11 at night, and my mom, my grandma, and I had to pick up some things at Walmart for the competition the next day. We had just finished dinner, so as soon as we had gotten there, my mom had to use the bathroom. She was in there for a while, so I was just waiting outside for my shopping cart, shuffling through Insta on the crappy Walmart Wi-Fi. My grandmother was waiting in the car. She had been in the bathroom for about 10 minutes, and I was growing more and more bored, so I decided that I would start shuffling the aisles around me just to keep my short attention span in check, hoping that I would find something shiny to distract me. I turned into the third aisle, and once I was about halfway through, a shorter man with a plastic Walmart bag in his hand rounded the corner and started slowly stalking behind me. I didn't get a good look at him, but I could definitely tell he was there. It wasn't until he got about a foot behind me that I realized that he was way too close for my comfort. I started getting tunnel vision, and my eyes felt all tingly. I decided that I would get out of there and I'd start walking away as normal as possible. Once I got a couple feet in front of him, I started basically running, wildly quickly between aisles trying to lose him. I was trying to find an aisle with people, but every time I would go into a small group, they'd walk away. I would stop in an aisle thinking I had lost him, then turn around the corner so I could keep running. I finally lost him once I got in the shoe section. Again, this place was unfamiliar, totally backwards. The Walmart that I was used to. I didn't know how to get back to the bathrooms. I started following walls until I made it to the bathrooms. About 5 minutes had passed. I parked the cart back and outside, and I went into the bathrooms looking for my mom. I thought she was there, so I propped myself up against the wall and pulled out my phone. 6 missed calls. My mom had been calling me the entire time, and she was freaking out. I answered almost in tears, and she started screaming at me, "Where are you?" I very explained to her what happened, and too overwhelmed and panically to explain. She had my grandmother, whom she had called to help look for me, meet up with me in the bathrooms. That they told me people had been calling my name over the speaker, but it was probably when I was in the bathroom, so that's why I didn't hear. We reported the guy to the employees, played for our stuff. I made dumb decisions during this encounter, so if you ever find yourself in a situation similar to mine, which I hope you don't, abandon your shopping cart. Whatever items you had picked up, you can pick them up back later. Tell somebody if you're being followed. Better be safe than sorry. I should have turned to face him. There were people around, and if he had have tried anything, they could have heard my screams. As dark as that sounds, most of the time when people face their attackers and show bravery, they get caught off guard. So creepy. Guy who followed me around Tennessee Walmart. Let's never meet again. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Those are my 2 Reddit stories. I will probably make another video after this because these are like so awesome. And if you guys want to go and read them yourself, it's Reddit, Reddit. I made that mistake when I was looking for it. But yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.